Seeing as we're in your shop, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Episode three.
Four. If we do it sequentially, it's four.
Yeah. Welcome to Cali Coffee Bar. This week we are gonna do. We swapped brewers.
Yes.
You took the fellow Stagg.
Yeah.
And I took the Tricolate brewer.
Yeah.
We're gonna compare to what we do in house,
Mhm.
V60 and Tree Bark V60 here.
Yeah, and occasionally I do a bit of Kalita just because
Oh yeah.
I like it, and if I have time,
Yeah.
I kind of prefer it. But I
Yeah.
find if you're busy, it's just easier to kind of manage the V60 while you're doing something else
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the similarities with them, what we like, what we don't like, and yeah, our experiences.
So how did you get on with the?
Yeah. Will I open it up?
Yeah, go for it. Throw me over your
Yeah. The Stagg.
Stagg, and actually, this is the fellow Stagg XF, isn't it? 'Cause there's
Yeah.
a
So
regular-
it's the double. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad.
Yeah.
This is mad. Like, I love the design. Absolutely love the design. Probably really nice features, the flow, the even flow of water over
Yeah.
the top. So what happens is coffee in, there's a filter paper on the bottom, pop that on top, pour your water, and there's a nice even flow rate all the way through. Yeah, really great. I actually did side by side with the V60 this afternoon with
Okay,
it.
cool.
We did same coffee, same dose, same
Yeah.
everything, and just see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unreal. We got two of the same coffees, but completely different tastes.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And
yeah.
do you think, like these guys claim that it gives you a higher extraction? Do you think that's what the difference was for you, or do you think it was just a more even kind of extraction?
Good question.
I would question the evenness.
Yes, yeah. What I would also say is the nice thing about this is there's no bypass, so all the coffee, it's ensuring that all the coffee gets submerged in water,
Yeah.
whereas sometimes in V60 you mightn't have that. But so it's better in that way. I guess you can claim maybe higher extraction because of it,
Yeah.
but it's a very slow brew, so it
Yeah,
took
it's very slow.
it took a lot longer to brew, and then you get really astringent cups of coffee, so you have to
But if you go
change it
to
quite.
the guy's website, they give a couple of ranges of types of brewing ratios
Yeah.
and styles, and you can get like hugely different like length of extractions and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything from like 4 or 5 minutes up to 8 or 9 minutes,
Yeah.
depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I actually found that with temperature, so it's really interesting with the V60, and maybe because this took so long to brew, it was a bit more astringent. But as it changed temperature-wise, this was actually, so at the start, the V60 was really lovely to sip, and this not so
Yeah.
much. Really felt it. As the V60 cooled down, it was like okay, it's cooling down. But then this kind of sort of picked up again. I was enjoying it more, so it was
Yeah.
interesting in that way. Definitely, yeah. The big one would be the length of time it takes.
and it's going to take a few times, I'd say, just to dial in
Yeah.
like grind and
Yeah.
ratios.
Yeah.
Because I think the ratios is also in some ways tied to the length of the brew. Like they're completely different ratios. And then I presume you're doing your standard like 60 grams per liter
Yeah,
with
yeah,
your V60.
exactly. Yeah.
What did you end up going with on this?
17 grams, same thing. 17 250. Yeah,
Yeah,
roughly
yeah.
same ratio. And it took 4 and actually near 5 minutes,
Yeah.
whereas the V60 was 3 minutes
Yeah.
straight through. So, like you're adding another minute, which means more contact time. Yeah, technically maybe there is more extraction,
Yeah.
but it's stronger flavor,
Yeah.
maybe bitterness adding in there.
I enjoyed it a few times. I think I said in the last episode, it took me a couple of goes to get the hang of it, and the first one was just like way too long.
Yeah, yeah,
And once I found the kind of range, I think I actually ended up in the 6.5 to 7 minute
yeah.
brew time with the races out with. And more than that, I really did enjoy it as it cooled down and you could get to taste.
Right,
much
yeah.
further. But this has the same problem I found that this has, which is like, what am I supposed to balance this on
Yeah.
when I'm brewing
Oh yeah,
if I don't have
Yeah.
don't want to spend the money to buy the thing that goes with it?
yeah, yeah.
And
That's true. Actually.
that especially, there's a real danger of it just being like slightly off, and then suddenly all your water is going over to one side.
Yeah, uneven extractions. Then. Yeah, you're right. That's true actually. And to be honest with this thing, this is the best. I want to
Yeah.
use this over my V60.
Yeah, no, that's great. That is great. I mean,
The even flow.
that's where the real smartness of this comes in.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you think? Would you, if I hadn't given it to you, would you actually get one yourself?
See,
See?
it's a hard one. It really is a hard one.
Uh,
And the one thing I would say about this is for the home brewers and the home grinders,
Yeah.
you really have to go coarse. And
Yeah.
those that you're really pushing your grinder then. You know how they have the, you know, they say you're going French press for really coarse, and you're like, French press for this, like it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going even past French press. You're pushing your grinder, and maybe that's just, it's making it less accessible to people. So would I go for it? Do you know, I go for it in terms of like the side-by-side comparison, and you get to learn when you do that.
Yeah.
I've done V60, and it's a staple of Cali here, so
Yeah.
you know, V60 would win.
I think what's interesting about that too is it's not that well established yet. So if you're someone who did get one of those, and then you went into a coffee shop and you asked them to grind the coffee for you, that's where you could really hit problems.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, most coffee shops who grind the bag will have their standard setting for their V60 and the French press and everything. But I'd say there'll still be a fair few places where you said, oh, if you can grind for Tricolate, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, and maybe that's, you know, maybe we need to leave it for a bit longer for other people to experiment with it, come up with better techniques, better ways. Yeah. And maybe there is, you know, better extractions and better flavors to come from it. But yeah, no, it's pretty good.
This I quite liked. It's weird. My brain has to get past the bit where I'm used to doing my like 3-stage V60, my bloom, my top up, and then my fun. Well, with this one, what they want you to do is do the bloom and then just do a fill up method. So you just fill it completely and you just wait. Yeah. And it just feels kind of wrong initially. Yeah. And it's also so fast.
That's the one thing I was so surprised about. Yeah.
Like, I pushed the coffee a bit finer because I was like, it shouldn't be going through that quick. I need to slow it down. Yeah. And I used the Panama that you gave me, and you're right. That's a tricky one to get right. I made it 4 times. Yeah. I made it twice on V60 and twice on this, and the second one today as well. Some of which I gave you earlier on. I don't know if you had a chance to try it yet. The tea quality of that coffee that came out of it was fantastic. Yeah. But it could have been a different coffee from the V60. It genuinely could.
That's the mad thing,
It was so. It felt like as it was coming through in colour, and I know it's gaseous. Like I was like, has it even extracted the coffee? You know? I mean, there's a lot to like about this. Yeah. The things I don't like is now I have another proprietary filter that I have to second buy. That like, and
probably less people sourcing that kind of filter.
Exactly.
Harder to get. Yeah.
So harder to get. Yeah. Again, figuring out your grind size. The one thing you're absolutely right about is this bit that it sits in. Fantastic.
Yeah, and
then this kind of bit that sits on here that then you once you've ground your coffee and you use this to funnel it in. Leads me to believe that like after they designed it, they were like, oh shit, how are people going to get the coffee in there? Yeah. Like if this was just a bit wider, I'd love to know what the narrowness, other than the fill-up method and the time to travel through, lends to it.
Because the narrowness makes it really difficult to actually pour your water into the top. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Because you end up like hitting the paper.
The sides, yeah. I mean, you have to really soak the hell out of the paper first to make sure it works. Yeah. Like I did like it, but and what in the Christ is this 3-dot system?
So apparently it's for. They say it's your dose, like you can dose.
Who buys this? Yeah. And the proprietor this and goes to all this effort and knows about coffee and then doesn't bother to weigh their coffee. This is the most pointless.
That's true, actually.
Thing
if you're doing that, you're probably you have weighing scales with you.
I don't get it, you know. But I'll tell you something. If you wanted to go somewhere and you're going on holidays, this is super compact,
robust. Yeah.
You know, you have everything you need, and it's still not hectic to balance on certain things, but it's definitely better than that yoke. Yeah. Because the base that is so wide.
That's right.
You need a very wide jug.
That's right, yeah.
Whereas this, you could go into any cup or whatever as long as it's a little bit narrow, and it does a good job. I mean, what kind of price point do these come in at?
Oh, I think around €70.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It is, yeah.
Like that retails for about high 30s, I believe.
Yeah, that's.
But you could go in and buy a V60. Yeah. A plastic or whatever, like $9-10.
That's it, yeah.
You know?
A plastic one, especially if you're traveling and stuff.
Yeah. And again, and Owen, who's behind the camera over here, who we're chatting with before I came in, I was like, it doesn't really matter about this or that. If you've got a good grinder and you do a good job of grinding the coffee and you kind of follow your system, you're going to get good coffee out of whatever. Yeah. I'd buy this for someone I know who's really into their coffee as a present. Yeah. It'd be a great present. I would have a hard time justifying buying this myself, if not for research purposes, you know? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. Yeah. V60 probably has the bias because we just use it all the time, and that's what
we're intimately familiar with it.
Yeah, true. But no, you're right, and these are, in terms of the lifespan of the V60s and how long they've been around, like hundreds of years, and you have these guys fairly new.
Yeah.
You know, you can't blame them either. They're
Oh
kind of-
no, I mean look, there's definitely a market for it. I just don't know if that's my market.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine you're going to get many coffee shops changing over to this.
Yeah,
This is
as a
clearly the
staple.
market where there's a huge amount of people who want to brew at home, want to try something different, and for a bit of fun. And even the interesting experiment you mentioned about trying side by side, I guess for that, great. But,
yeah, that's true. It's a good learning, a tool for learning more about the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, the side by side, knowing, okay, yeah, I'm getting bitterness from this and not from the V60.
I'll say at least with this, these guys are doing this is totally different.
Yeah.
Like this is a remodel in some ways of a familiar concept.
Yeah.
This is just totally out there.
Yeah.
And if they can figure out how this bit could
Yeah.
tie into other coffee brewers, then you're on a winner.
Yeah.
You know?
I know that there's something called a mellow drip that's kind of trying to do this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was going to say about this is it is, the more people getting into coffee, which they're in a massive way, the more you have individuals who are going to create something that they want to, you know, push the boundaries of coffee, something different. And maybe this is the middleman between the next great coffee brewer.
Yeah, it's heading in the right direction,
Yeah,
but it's not quite there
exactly.
yet.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, optimism, I'd say.
Future is bright.
Yeah, for coffee.
Yeah. Right, so I think that's pretty much it for today.
Yeah.
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 We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah.